Commission meeting of September 28th, 2016. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Coleman? Mr. Kehoe?
Here.
Mr. Nicely?
Here.
Ms. Riviera?
Here.
Councilman Rohr?
Here.
Vice Chairman Hatton?
Here.
Chairman Koch?
Here. I received a phone call and an email from Mr. Coleman saying that he would not be able to be here because of business. He's busy out of town on business. I have a motion to excuse Mr. Coleman for this meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion from Mr. Nicely and a second from Ms. Riviera. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Nicely?
Yes.
Ms. Riviera?
Yes.
Councilman Rohr?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton?
Yes.
Chairman Koch?
Yes. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is approval of the motion summary of the Historic Preservation Commission meeting held on August 24th, 2016, as recorded and transcribed. Have you had an opportunity to review the motion summary and essentially minutes? And do you have any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chair, I was not here, so I would intend to abstain. Are there enough people for me to do that still?
Yeah.
I wasn't here either. I'd like to abstain.
Okay, when you get that done.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve the motion summary. May I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Nicely. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe?
I guess abstain.
Mr. Nicely?
Yes.
Ms. Riviera?
Yes.
Councilman Rohr?
Abstain.
Vice Chairman Hatton?
Yes.
Chairman Koch?
Yes. Item 3A on the regular business agenda is application 2016-2479. It's a request by Typhoon Asian Fusion Bistro Incorporated for a certificate of appropriateness for facade improvements at 12 South Sandusky Street, which is Zone B2 in the Central Business District and located in the downtown core of the Downtown Historic District overlay. This was tabled from the previous meeting on August 24, 2016. Do we have a staff report, please?
Chairman, I believe we need to make a motion to remove it from the
Yes,
table first.
That's true. This has been tabled at the previous meeting, so can I have a motion to take this off the table for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Nicely, second by who? Kyle Rohr. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call a roll.
Mr. Kehoe?
Yes.
Mr. Nicely?
Yes.
Ms. Riviera?
Yes.
Councilman Rohr?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton?
Yes.
Chairman Koch?
Yes. Okay, now, we have a request, but I won't read the whole thing again. Do we have a staff report?
Yes, we do. And the owner is here this evening as well to take any questions and to go through our maps and the brief history again quickly. Our location map at 12 South Sandusky Street. The zoning is B2. The historic district is in the downtown core. And here's the aerial photograph. And if you'll recall from last month's meeting, we have a photograph from the early 1900s depicting the building. And then some of the facade changes and storefront changes throughout the years. And the applicant would like to present a slightly revised and more detailed facade improvement proposal. And there are 4 components to the project. First are the upper facade improvements. And looking back, to the existing storefront. You can see the siding and the windows and the cornice area. The cornice itself will be repaired. Cornice brackets will be reinstated, and this is the simple style that has been selected. The siding would be replaced with a wood cedar textured horizontal siding. The windows themselves, I believe they're currently aluminum windows, and they will be replaced with the wood black aluminum clad replacement windows. And the style selected gives a nod back to the time period of the building. And you can see here, these are the existing window openings.
Diane,
Yes.
there were two window styles shown there, I think.
Oh, the one that's on the left, that is the exterior view of the window. And there is a small cornice on top of that window, and then with the 3 dividers, and then just the one sash on the bottom. And then the view on the right is the interior view of that window.
Diane, while we're on this page, just real quick, I'm not sure what wood cedar textured horizontal siding is.
That is the type of product.
No, I get that, but so in here it says engineered wood. Here it says wood. Is it engineered wood? We can ask
You know
later,
what,
but
let's ask the questions.
okay. I thought maybe you might know on staff, but I can ask the
Yeah, I
applicant.
believe it's a wood product, right, so engineered wood. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right, and the revised color palette, you know, the main colors will still be black, a dark gray, and a cream color, but the awning color is being changed to, even though it's called jalapeno, it's a flat, deep orange, burnt orange color for the awning itself. And so the colors never come through properly on PDFs, or so we had wanted to pass that around so you could get a closer look.
Umbrella color. Oh, I wasn't sure what I think.
Okay. The second part of the project is the sign band area. And I'm going to be flipping back to the full view. Right above the sign band area, in order to provide a divider between the wood siding and that sign band area, there will be a 5-pon molding that will just act as a divider between, like I said, between the siding and the sign band area. The awning will be installed in that sign band area, and it will have the name of the restaurant imprinted in black letters. And the awning will be illuminated with black gooseneck lighting fixtures. Again, just to give you that visual again. All right, and then the next phase of the project will be the storefront reconfiguration. Right now, the storefront windows are angled into an inset door. It is proposed that there will still be an inset door, but there will be flanking flush storefront windows, and then that inset window along the right and left side of the entry door, and then the entry door itself. And the design of the proposed new entry door is a 2-panel 9-light wood entry door. And that will be painted black, green colored inset panels. Now the second floor stairway, the entry door there will remain, and it will be repainted. And so the stained glass that is currently there will remain intact. And the storefront itself will be all wood. And that will, be the exterior grade wood. And there will be transom windows. And then the 1/4 inch plate glass windows for the storefront itself. And then inset panels at the base. And then the last part of the project will be the gas meter relocation. And the owners have been in communication with Columbia Gas. They did come out, and Columbia Gas basically said, this is where your gas meters will be going. And the suggestion was to move them from below the storefront window and stack them one on top of the other on the northernmost column of the owner's building. And 1 meter is for the upstairs occupied apartment, and the other meter is to serve the commercial space on the first floor. And the gas company serviceman was, actually brought the piping and so forth, so you could see how far that, they will be, laying pretty close to the building themselves, minus the person's foot.
Is that for scale?
Yes, we'll say it's for scale. And in the meantime, while after the work is finished, or even while they're waiting to have the work done, there are some possible wood meter coverings that could be installed as well, that may help to hide and protect those gas meters. If the gas meters stay in front of that storefront window, that wooden box would actually come up and cover part of the storefront window, which isn't the best. But when relocated, one on top of the other on that column, they can be enclosed. Probably the figure to the right, just enclose them. And then the door, I believe, it still opens, so the will service those meters. But preferably, leave them exposed. From talking with Dave Eflin, our planning director, if they were enclosed in a box like that, then that might impinge on the city right away over the sidewalk. And so that is still basically, having the commission's suggestion on what to do.
So who else other than HPC would have to sign off on that part of it?
If
they put a box, or, honestly, even if they move them out onto that column. They're then
Mhm.
projecting out onto the sidewalk, so
Well,
that
they
goes beyond our
are,
purview, I would think.
I'm sorry?
I would think that would go beyond our purview as far as right-of-way and that sort of thing.
Right, that would need to go to, right, the city administration in regards to a right-of-way permit.
Okay.
And I believe right now where those, one on top of the other and tucked against the wall, I don't believe they come out any further than the stairs from the barber shop.
Correct. This is a fabrication of one that they've done for another building. Unless we sign to actually move in, they will not build a fabrication to be our exact meters.
Yeah,
We have to have you come up.
if you'd like to come, up,
Sorry.
right?
Sorry.
If you could come forward and identify yourself and give your name and address.
My name is Amanda. And my address is 6426 Crooked Elm.
Push that thing a little closer. Thank you.
We need last name.
Amanda Sykes, sorry. This is a fabrication that he had for a building. We've been in constant communication with Columbia Gas, trying anything that we can to move those gas meters anywhere but the front of the building. But as you guys mentioned, we're going to have to go to city administrators as well as you guys. We want to please you with the aesthetics of the building, but we also have to make sure that we're within what we're allowed to do with the city. But this fabrication that he's showing here, what that foot is blocking is there's a bench actually outside of Woody's head shed that comes out farther than the actual meters would even come out. So we can expose the meters and paint them to match the color of the building if that would be preferred. We also can provide a cover-up that would not extend much more than an inch or so beyond the meters sticking out from the front of the building. Kind of being pulled in every direction to please everyone with this meter relocation. But like she mentioned before, excuse me, the image on the left is a proposed cover-up if we were to leave the meters underneath the storefront windows there, but that box would go above the window bottom, which really kind of throws off the whole look of the building. We would prefer to have them moved to the side of the building where they're being shown in this far right picture.
And as far as Columbia Gas is concerned, they don't particularly care as long as they have access, right?
Exactly. As long as they can still open that box or see that meter in some way, they don't care where it goes. They just refuse to put it inside, on the side, or behind the building in any other way than this. So,
And Diane, so when I look at where the meter is now, it would appear that it's in their recess or alcove.
Correct.
So the plan calls for that to be out at the edge of the sidewalk. So
Mhm.
those meters would have to be moved to a degree, right? They have to be moved forward in order for that wall to come forward,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
So from the applicant standpoint, you're gonna pay for meter relocation regardless.
correct.
Okay. And as we all know, that's most of the cost, whether the pipe is 12 inches or 36 inches, probably don't
Yes.
care too much. And either way, whether they have a cover or not, that meter's now out onto the right of way.
Into the city right away, right. And so she would work, or the owners would work with city planning and city engineering and basically get a right-of-way permit.
Okay.
Because there really is no other option of where to put those meters.
And do we have, I can think of like the old brown jug had the one that's in a right of way, because that is an alley that cuts through there and it's been hit before. But I can't think of any that are out on the sidewalk.
City
Is this the only one?
It appears to be one of the only ones, yes.
Lucky you.
Yes.
But again, this is a unique circumstance where
Yeah.
they had tried every way to figure out how, like Amanda said, where else to put the meter. And basically Columbia Gas said, this is where it's going.
The thing that occurs to me is that meter box projecting out into the sidewalk right away would probably be much less of an obstruction if you were to decide to have a patio in front of the building, and then no one would even notice.
Yes. Eventually, that's something that we would like to look into. And that's why we're trying to relocate the meters.
Right. While they're doing the construction on, it would just be the most opportune time to relocate those meters.
But the only thing that's really in front of us would be a cover.
Correct.
Okay. Back to you.
Is that your report?
Yeah,
No, there's
that
more.
would be it. And so again, this is another overview of all of the proposed improvements. Any other questions?
I have a couple of questions on essentially facade element dimensions and sizes. The awning isn't well described other than the fact that you're going to order a Sunbrella awning, which is a trade fireproof nylon fabric
Correct.
in a Sherwin-Williams paint color. And I'm not sure that you're going to be able to do that. So you might check the colors that Sunbrella awning material comes in and pick the most appropriate. Is
Of
that
course. We tried to get the closest color sample that we could to getting a burnt orange. This is the color that we'll be using inside of the building for some of our accents, and we wanted to match the outside awning for that. There are color options with several different awning companies in shades of orange, but the color that I had proposed before with orange was a little too garish, and so there are burnt orange options, but we want to keep it that matte, darker color for.
I guess I'd caution you ahead of time. The reason that Sunbrella is used so frequently downtown is because there's a flame spread requirement for the building code, and that's a flame resistant materials. And each brand of awning fabric probably only comes in certain colors, so be aware of what colors they have available and make the best of it.
Certainly, absolutely.
And the other question I have, in the awning, it just says 3x3 Sunbrella awning. I'm not sure what that means. Is this a 3-foot high and 3-foot horizontal extension out over the sidewalk?
Correct.
Okay. So it's 3 foot high and 3 feet projecting out. 45-degree angle on the awning.
It won't come out very far. Yeah.
Well, it'll come out 3 feet if it's a 3x3 awning.
As far as the angle goes, yes. It's,
Well, if it's 3 feet high and it's 3 feet deep, it's probably going to be about a 45-degree angle.
correct.
Okay.
And it's just a shed
That's right.
straight
That's correct.
across. Okay.
No bow front.
Mm-mm,
No corners.
No.
Sorry. The other thing, Mr. Hatton and I were talking on the way to the meeting here, the siding that's going to be used up on the top there. You've got I'm getting a different set of dimensions from the various things I look at here. Some of the siding, down in the text, it says it'll be 12 inches high. And on the drawing, it says that it's going to be 8 inches high. The horizontal divisions in the siding, as inconsequential as it seems, have a significant effect on the appearance and the appearing age of the building. So I'm kind of curious to tie that down a little.
Right. I believe on the drawing, it says, it is in its tiny numbers, but it reads 12 inches by 3/8 of an inch.
So that would imply that that's a 12-inch exposure on the siding between horizontal lines? You don't happen to have a sample of that?
I didn't bring a physical sample
Okay.
with me, no.
Well, I think a 12-inch exposure on the siding is going to look very contemporary, and I can't tell if that's going to be beveled siding or what the design of the siding is. It's pre-finished, and I don't have a color on the pre-finished.
Is it a clapboard siding where they lay on top of each other?
They lay on top of each other. And the nice thing about this siding is they make it in all kinds of measurements. So if you'd like us to do smaller, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, we talked last time, normally on a building of this age, you'd have a 3.5-inch exposure.
Okay,
So, if you just drive around, look at houses about the same inch.
certainly.
It's called clapboard siding.
Yes,
At least here, some people call it bevel siding, depending what part of the country you're in. That's why I was asking, shiplap is something else. So I was trying to figure out exactly what we're looking at, but I'm going to make a real bad sketch here for you. And so a clapboard or a bevel siding, it's called bevel because it's bevel.
right,
And it's a piece of wood. This piece lays on top of it. This piece lays on top of it. And it essentially makes a waterproof.
right,
Okay, and back in the day, they did that because the nails would be up there. They didn't have putties and things to fill the nails.
certainly.
Okay, so that's what you have on there now, except it's a 12-inch exposure. It was probably put on in the 50s. And it's probably made out of masonite, so it's an old engineered wood.
Mhm.
So we'd rather not have you replicate that because that's not appropriate, that exposure. So we'd rather have that, again, so a 3.5-inch exposure, normally the piece is nominally 5.5 inches and you have a 2-inch overlap,
Right,
okay? And you can get that in engineered wood too. So
Certainly,
you don't
yeah.
want to put up regular, but the other thing that will, I can tell you from experience, make your contractor's life easier is that if you look over, when you have a 12-inch exposure and you have to match the bottom and the top of the window trim,
Mhm.
you don't have a lot of wiggle room because you only have maybe
I see.
5. And suddenly what you have then is the eye goes to the fact that they fudged an inch on this one, where if you have 3.5, you've got maybe, 3 times the amount of boards.
Correct,
So you wiggle each one about 1/8 of an inch and everything lines up nicely.
Okay.
It's anytime you're working, just like doing 12-inch tiles in your bathroom. It's easier to do the little ones, right? So that was my comment on that. And we mentioned it last time, but from my perspective, you've addressed the things that we've talked about. That was really the only thing that jumped to my eye was I think this would look, I like what you have. I think it's going to make this building, well, it's a pretty low bar, right? It's going to make this building really nice. I'm looking forward to it. I think that 3.5-inch exposure would really age the building more appropriately, and that was really about the only thing that probably popped out.
I'm guessing, just as a comment on your comments, I'm guessing that if it says 12-inch engineered cedar wood siding, that's probably pre-finished siding that comes 12 inches, and Amanda has told us that it comes in several options of what that 12 inches is divided into, and I'm guessing it's either going to be 3-inch or 4-inch or 6-inch. So she's going to have the these aren't going to be separate pieces. These are going to be
just like a
12-inch
prefabricated.
pieces yeah,
Oh.
that's.
they had 1/2 inch, like, they had everything from like the 12 to then 11.5, then 11, then 10.5. There, those options available with this particular product.
Does it go down to 3.5 or 4?
That far down, I can't recall. I was trying to make it look closer to this, from my understanding, as far as that siding is. But that's certainly something I can look into.
Yeah,
That's
like I
not
said,
difficult at all.
That's something that was slapped up probably in the 50s or 60s.
Sure.
The other thing, since it's a pretty small area, and again, if you're talking about engineered, you can get engineered wood clapboard siding in individual clapboards, which is, for what it's worth, what I would recommend, because you've got to line everything up with those existing windows. Now you're putting new window trim up on the top. It looks like maybe you're adding a sill down at the bottom. And the problem, again, with that engineered wood is it's a finite space, right? And if it doesn't line up with the top and the bottom, kind of like the way it doesn't really right now, it doesn't look very good. If you look on your drawing, you'll see that they have those lines lining up with the top and the bottom of the windows.
Correct.
It's a pretty small, give your contractor a lot more flexibility and it might cost you on your material cost for that, an extra 10% or something.
Okay,
And you'd probably save that in labor, and it would look 100% better.
certainly. That's no problem. We can do that.
Do we want to, do we talk about
In
the
the
gas box?
absence of an accurate specification on the gas meter box, should we, to allow them to get on with the job and get moving, should we maybe make the design, the exterior appearance of the box subject to administrative approval or something like that?
Fine with me. The only thing I wondered about that, on your potential patio, would that be done, try and do that? Because what I'm thinking is if your gas meters go over there, that's where your patio is going to connect.
Correct.
And state requires that it have to be, and I just wonder if that's going to cause issues if they're there where if that's the wall, that's about where your patio fence would have to connect to the wall.
Right.
And that's outside of our purview to a degree. Obviously, you're going to have a liquor permit, I
Mhm.
assume from the name. And so, the state has a lot of requirements around that. That would be my only thought. I'd hate to see you put the meters there and then all of a sudden, because I do this kind of stuff in my real life, go, how am I going to do this, right?
Right. The patio is something that is thought of. It's not, we have to have a patio as soon as we build the front of the building. But I don't know if we could do the patio with a side entrance right there where it's kind of open where the gas meters are. I'm not sure what those requirements are because that's not something I've looked into yet.
Staff, you have our city requirements, but then the state liquor commission
It has
has.
its own.
Right.
So, but I'm sure between, all of us, we can come up with a solution.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sounds like they're kind of stuck with the gas meter where it's going to be.
Right.
The facade.
Well, no, it sounds like, I think she said Columbia Gas will move it to either location.
They'll move it out, so the flanking windows that are on the ends, if they are flush with the storefront, they will move it out to there. Or they will also move it off to the side.
Right, which gets it out from underneath the window. and-
Exactly. This has kind of been something that we've been at war with Columbia Gas and like the city ourselves included, where we want to put it. Either way, it's going to project a little bit. It cannot go inside of the building.
And there is a 100-plus-year-old brick sewer in the alley, which would be very risky to try and tap into, or get nearby, or else we'll have a domino effect for blocks. And so Columbia Gas did not want to take that risk, and the city did not want to take that risk either. So a meter at the rear of the building is definitely out.
Is that where all the other ones are on that block? I never walk around behind those.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
There are several that are out back for all of the other buildings but ours.
Oh.
Okay, with administrative approval that's a pretty small part of the package, right?
And you may know more about the shape, size, and access of that gas meter box after you consider the required fence around a patio area. If you just think ahead,
Yes.
that may drive the design of that box somehow.
Certainly.
Well, any other questions for the applicant?
Nothing here.
I have a motion to
We need to do anything.
deal with this.
We'll put it in the motion. I'll take
I
a
mean, you
run.
want to fix it at a certain 3.5 or something like that?
I think 4 would be safer.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just put it in the motion.
Because
When
I
you-
think it's going to be a pre-finished product that comes 12 inches and it's available divided in 1, 2, 3.
Well, that's why I was asking her, if you go to an individual, it's going to make it a lot easier on your contractor, but yeah, four's okay.
Just to be clear, are you asking for a 4-inch exposure?
Yeah.
Okay, that's between
I'll
each.
put 3.5 or 4.
Exposure is the commonly used term for
How much is
where
shown?
the horizontal
Okay.
striations. Sometimes in modern engineered siding, they want them to go up quick, so they offer them in one width and divide it differently
Right,
in the way they make it. So
okay,
I thought that might be what you were facing and
okay,
trying to be helpful.
certainly. Thank you, I appreciate it.
I'll take a right now. Okay. I move to accept HPC 2016-2479 with staff recommendations and two included recommendations or two included requirements. 3, the siding has either a 3.5 or a 4-inch exposure. And 4th would be the gas meter box will be approved, how do I want to say that, per administrative approval, gas meter box design. Yeah, but I know, I'm trying to, gas meter box design to be approved administratively. How's that?
Yeah. What that means is you don't have to go through this meeting routine again. You just get with Diane and it gets approved.
Okay.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
We got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Nicely,
Yes.
Ms. Riviera,
Yes.
Councilman Rohr,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton,
Yes.
Chairman Koch.
Yes. Amanda and Jen and TJ, thank you for improving yet another building downtown.
Pleasure's ours. Thank you.
It's a very nice design.
Item 3B on the agenda is item number 2016-2435. This is a request by 34 North Sandusky Street LLC for a certificate of appropriateness for storefront improvements at 34 North Sandusky Street, which is Zone B2 in the Central Business District and located in the downtown core of the Downtown Historic District overlay. This item was tabled at the previous meeting on August 24th, 2016. I'd like to have a motion to remove this item from the table.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Nicely,
Yes.
Ms. Riviera,
Yes.
Councilman Rohr,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton,
Yes.
Chairman Koch.
Yes.
Excuse me, was that Mr. Nicely, Mr. Kehoe?
Yes, it was.
Thank you.
We're moving so fast, they can't keep up with it.
I like it.
Make a motion to remove that item from the agenda.
Second?
Yes, we have to remove it from being tabled. Yes, okay, we have a motion to remove the item from the table. And a
No,
second.
that's what we just had.
That's what I thought,
He's removing it from the agenda.
removing it from the agenda.
And we can-
We have a motion to remove this item from the agenda at the request of the applicant. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll, please.
Mr. Kehoe,
Yes.
Mr. Nicely,
Yes.
Ms. Riviera,
Yes.
Councilman Rohr,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Hatton,
Yes.
Chairman Koch.
Yes. Item 4 on the agenda is commission member comments and discussion. Are there any?
I was
Yes,
curious
sir.
about Ohio Pizza. You heard from them?
The perpetual construction project
Yeah.
downtown? I have not. I don't know. Diane
Is this
has.
the appropriate time for that question?
Yep.
No, I have not heard
Okay.
anything of his progress. I did notice that he had a help wanted sign on his window.
We don't know if that's for construction help or kitchen help, though.
So,
Just wondering.
That my understanding is he's doing much of the work himself, and he does not seem to be really rushed.
Good for him.
But there is work going on,
Yes,
and the inside of it, I've seen the inside, and it's further along than you might assume from the front. Any actions on inappropriate or illegal signage in the downtown?
It's a constant
And I
battle.
know we've got at least one new flasher that has popped up.
And which is,
Don't need to,
oh, okay. Like I said, it's a constant policing effort. And so we make our phone calls and write our letters and remind people of what our sign guidelines are in the downtown.
Any other comments or discussion? Hearing none, the next regular meeting is scheduled for October 26th, 2016. Could I have a motion for adjournment?
so move.
I have a motion from Mr. Hatton,
Second.
second from Mr. Keough. That means we're adjourned.